Architecture creates value when people understand it and can act on it. In this section, we'll practice translating AI architecture decisions into business impact, technical rationale, security confidence, and delivery action, so reviews become clearer, faster, and easier to approve. So far, we've built the foundation: TOGAF concepts, the ADM structure, target architectures, and their application to Azure, AI, zero trust, privacy, and governance. Now the focus shifts from creating architecture content to communicating it clearly, so executives, technical teams, and reviewers can understand, challenge, and approve the solution. Diagrams alone do not deliver value. Architecture becomes useful when people understand the choices, trust the reasoning, approve the direction, and apply it in delivery. Poor communication leads to rework and bypass. Strong communication turns complexity into action. An architecture review turns architecture work into governed decisions. The team submits an architecture package, reviewers complete a pre-read and triage, and stakeholders meet to test the proposal against principles, standards, requirements, and the target state. The real value is surfacing anything that could block delivery: risks, exceptions, dependencies, and open decisions. The outcome may be approval, conditional approval with actions, deferral, or rejection. Most importantly, the review is not a performance or a rubber stamp. It improves decision quality, records accountability, and helps implementation begin with fewer surprises. Architecture communication breaks down when every audience gets the same story. Executives need the business case, outcomes, investment logic, strategic fit, and enterprise risk. Technical teams need enough detail to judge design integrity, service choices, integrations, scalability, reliability, and operations. Security and compliance teams look for threat exposure, controls, privacy, auditability, and residual risk. Delivery stakeholders focus on scope, dependencies, milestones, cost, skills, and feasibility. The architect's job is not to change the architecture for each group, but to translate the same architecture into the decisions each group must make. For executives, begin with the business decision in front of them. The technology matters, but it is not the headline. Frame the discussion around value, investment, risk, and timing. What outcome are we improving? What capability does the architecture unlock? What risk does it reduce? What will it cost? And when should benefits appear? Then connect the roadmap to measurable indicators, such as AI onboarding speed, compliance coverage, or customer experience gains. Close with a recommended path, credible alternatives, key risks, and the specific executive action required. In this example, the executive story shifts AI from scattered experiments to a governed enterprise capability. The message is not, "We need another platform." It is, "We need a secure foundation that lets teams reuse AI services, access data responsibly, and move faster without creating unmanaged risk." Azure provides the shared services, integration patterns, and analytics backbone. Governance makes adoption credible through zero trust, privacy controls, model oversight, audit evidence, and review gates. The roadmap reinforces the message: build the foundation, prove value through selected pilots, then scale successful patterns and mature operations. That sequence connects innovation, control, and measurable business adoption. Technical architecture communication should help reviewers test the design before anyone builds it. Start with why each Azure service was chosen, tying the choice to performance, security, cost, and functional needs. Then make the flows explicit: identities, APIs, data movement, dependencies, and trust boundaries. Engineers also need to see how the solution scales, fails safely, deploys through automation, and exposes useful telemetry. Finally, capture assumptions and risks in plain language. That gives architects, operations, and security teams a fair chance to challenge the design early when changes are still cheap. Reviewers are not just asking, "What did you choose?" They are asking, "Why is this the right choice for this workload?" A strong rationale connects each service to requirements: performance, security, compliance, cost, availability, integration, and data sensitivity. It also compares realistic alternatives using clear criteria, not preference or vendor familiarity. Constraints matter as well, such as approved platforms, regional limits, budget, or team skills. Finally, separate facts from assumptions. If a claim still needs validation, identify the proof of concept, performance test, or security review that will confirm it. Security and compliance reviews are strongest when controls are tied to specific risks. Start with threats identified through modeling and architecture review, then show the matching controls: identity, access, secrets, segmentation, logging, encryption, and data loss prevention. Privacy adds design constraints, including classification, minimization, retention, and consent. Responsible AI extends the evidence to human oversight, content safety, model monitoring, transparency, and escalation. The goal is traceability. Every major risk has an owner, a control, and an evidence source reviewers can verify. Decision defense is not about proving every other option is wrong. It is about showing why one option is the best fit right now. A strong architect compares viable alternatives against the same criteria: cost, risk, complexity, performance, compliance, maintainability, and speed. Then the reasoning is made transparent. What is a fact? What is an assumption? What is a hard constraint? Where is professional judgment being applied? When the recommendation traces back to requirements, standards, principles, and stakeholder priorities, the decision becomes defensible, not just preferred. An architecture decision record turns a choice into an asset. It captures the context, the options considered, the decision made, and the consequences accepted. The important governance step is traceability. Each decision should link back to requirements, risks, principles, standards, and review outcomes, so people can see why it was approved. Once accepted, store it in the architecture repository as the authoritative record. Keep it current as well. If assumptions change, an exception is granted, or implementation exposes a constraint, update the record, and if needed, revisit the decision. A productive architecture review is not a free-form design debate. Send a focused pre-read with context, diagrams, requirements, risks, decisions needed, and open questions. Begin by naming the decision and the scope, so the discussion stays anchored. During the walkthrough, test concerns against evidence, trade-offs, and governance criteria, not opinions. Keep time visible and park unrelated issues. Close by confirming one outcome: approved, approved with conditions, deferred for actions, or rejected with rationale. Before everyone leaves, capture owners, due dates, and the exact follow-up path. A review only creates value when its outcomes move into execution. Publish the decision quickly, along with any conditions, open issues, risks, and named action owners. Then update the formal records: the architecture repository, requirements catalog, risk register, and decision log. Tailor the message for each audience. Executives need the impact and confidence level. Delivery teams need actions and dates. Security teams need evidence and control gaps. Above all, track follow-up until closure, so review findings do not become hidden implementation risk. The key message is simple. Architecture creates enterprise value when it is communicated, reviewed, defended, and governed. Tailor the story to each audience, make trade-offs and assumptions explicit, and turn reviews into documented decisions, actions, and repository updates. With that foundation, you are ready to move into implementation planning, migration roadmaps, and operational readiness.